Welcome to this Taoist meditation session. The meditations I'm going to be presenting come from Taoism. You might be wondering why I'm talking about all sorts of things before doing the meditation. It is to give you a context and understanding why you're doing it so it can have a much better effect for you. Just sit straight, breathe, let your mind get quiet, go on to the meditation. Well, welcome back to these meditations to hopefully help in the coronavirus. So the last time we started going through that, if you've had a day, okay? And one way of describing the first stages of doing Taoist meditation is just like you want to take a bath or a shower after you've been hiking through the woods or you've been going around grungy cities. It is just a general clear up so that a lot of things from that day that have been putting a lot of internal pressure on you, you at least get rid of them day by day. And then as the process will go further, then when you start getting good at that, then you start learning how to focus your attention into resolving the things that really bother you. Or as I've always made the joke, if it's Christmas and Santa Claus says you can have anything you want, what would you ask for? Well, if you had a pretty good life, I don't know, maybe you want a better car, a house or something. I don't know what you'd want. Or maybe the ultimate chocolate bar. But if you had grown up where you have been traumatized severely for whatever reason, and a huge chunk of the population they've been traumatized by shocking events that were, just happened. You just happened to be by the lake and you just watched your Aunt Zelda, choke to death, go under the water. You wanted to go and help her. You jumped in and you couldn't. And now you're suffering from this massive guilt. That's a trauma. Or you happen to be one of those unfortunate souls who got caught and was in prison in a war and, just got tortured for years on end. That'll cause you trauma. With the giant amount of abuse that's running around the society, each of those things could give you a trauma. If you had just had all your money stolen or lost, that could be a trauma, especially if it happened at the time you needed the money to give your kid a life-saving operation. You get so many things in life will cause you traumas. And so many of the traumas in life, if they're severe enough, people are never able to get over them. They affect them negatively their whole life. So there's that. And then it goes further in Taoist meditation that besides traumas, you start looking at the real agendas of your life. So that, you want to make money, but you can't. You want to be a movie star and you want the applause and the adulation, but you can't cut it even though you tried for years and years. You want to be honest, but no matter try again, you can't do it. Just like, people at New Year's time make New Year's resolutions. And sometimes they're about really important things in their life, the things that they don't have any way to actually pull it off. And the only way they are going to be able to pull it off is to go deep enough into their unconscious mind. And even things that are beyond your unconscious mind, because that is where the only solutions that can be found are there. So there are agendas. People make agendas to get rid of negative things and to achieve positive things. I mean, there is, how many artists have just been at that painting thing their whole life and actually never been able to sell a painting for more than $5? But that's what they want to do. And that's an inner drive they have. How many people put their whole life's effort behind being able to do something, and then a series of events of which they had nothing to do with it smash all their hopes. They get traumatized another way, or they would just like to be successful in life, or you'd like not to be hassled by the demons that are in your mind, of which there's more than anybody can count. So all these things are things that, as my joke goes, if Santa Claus came to town, look, I'm going to come, whatever you want, just ask and it's yours. You know? The burning bush from Mount Sinai is going to come and say, ask, whatever you ask for, you're going to get it. Just ask for it. So they have agendas, and it progresses in Taoism to agendas up to and including, I would like to be a fully awake spiritual human being. I want to be a Buddha. I want to be a Lao Tzu. I wish to be able to actually live the life that Christ proposed, as opposed to just believing in it, believing that wouldn't it be a nice thing if it happened, or believing that I should do it, but I can't, so what am I going to do? I'm going to do nothing. So all these things are agendas, and all of these things are things which people in every religion and spiritual practice in the world are to some degree looking for. I mean, it could be a big agenda. I don't have joy in my life. No matter what happens, I always feel miserable about it. Well, I would like to be able to have a relationship that's fulfilling. And the reason why you're not is something inside you, every time you get near to it, you blow it up one way or the other. Or you get attracted, or you can recognize this person, if you get with them, you're going to have a while, but they're going to blow the relationship up. So what inside you is compulsively making you go toward the things that will not make your life be the way you want it, or run away from the things that actually can cause you to have the things that you want? So that's agenda. So this is what happens. You go through things in Taoism. But the first stage is you definitely got to go. You've been walking through the jungles, the woods, the dirty streets of a lot of major cities, and you want to take a bath, because if you don't take a bath, that grime builds up over days and weeks and makes you really miserable, not to mention giving you all sorts of skin infections. So you want to now just try and see what's inside you, because you can't do all these things if you can't just recognize the pressures of what's blocked inside you and release them. And then when you start having a lot more experience with that, you can go to all these other methods with agendas, or with dealing with shocks, or with the other very practical things about it. So knowing that this is important, every day when you're, most people, if they're locked inside their houses, some people, if they can deal with it fine, they're natural born introverts. As a matter of fact, they've spent their whole life wishing they didn't have to talk to people. They're okay. What about people who like to engage with life? For them, it can be very, very, very difficult not being able to have a full range of social expression. So the thing is, now we just meditate like taking that shower after walking through a grimy place, to just at least keep the pressure down, to keep it down, so that if there's a tipping point, on this side of the tipping point, you're cool, you're not doing it, but then when you go past that tipping point, that's when you start going crazy. That's when, in your need to express yourself, you start engaging in a lot of really nasty, negative stuff. As well as when you release everything, these things that are building up, it also gives you the ability to go through a different tipping point, to where you can find it quite easy to be happy and joyful or content. But what's inside you is either going to lead you toward a nasty tipping point or toward a nice tipping point. So all we're going to look at now is that the basic Taoist meditation, ice to water, water to inner space, that fits both of these. This clears out the internal garbage inside you, so that you have the ability to start creating what happens inside your mind, or setting the conditions to which your mind will go in certain directions but not in others. So sit with your back straight, close your eyes. Just start breathing softly for a while until you have the feeling that just inhaling and exhaling is making your body and your mind a bit more alive. If you can do it all the way down to your feet, that's great. If you can only do it down to your lower dantian, that's fine too. Because from your lower dantian, the energy does spread out to the rest of your body. So recognize if you have a blockage. Something that in some way, no matter how tangentially, has a sense of tension, strength, like the strength of the ego, not the strength of being able to lift more weights at your gym, stubbornness, whatever. Something that doesn't feel quite right, especially if you don't know what it is, which is giving you a habit that something very strong is happening in your unconscious mind. Or any sense of contraction, physical, emotional, mental, psychic. But somehow something inside you is closing in on itself. Which, as a joke, you could say does cause a kind of spiritual claustrophobia. And when you find a blockage, ice, that is one thing a blockage could feel like. And what's in you is cold. It's not the warmth of a human being. It's the coldness of a robot. And robots feel no remorse when they do things. They just follow their programming. And as you keep your attention on the blockage, at some point it will seem to soften. It will seem to be that there's more space inside it. It will seem as though it is losing some of its control over you. And then it will go to water. It'll become soft. It'll become fluid. Your mind is relaxed. It's not freezing. It's not becoming fixated on something inside you. It's not getting stuck. Water, if there's not a wall in front of it, will just keep on going. Water doesn't get stuck. Ice clumps together. Water doesn't clump together. Again, these are metaphors for the nature of how your mind or your consciousness works. And then just if your mind sits in that blockage, like a ray of light can stay on a piece of ice on a lake until the ice melts, melting, melting, melting as it's relaxing, losing its need to maintain its form, its fixation, what a thing should or should not be, and then goes to the next stage of breaking through the ice. And then all of a sudden you'll find yourself in a place that you experience is bigger than your body. Maybe as big as a room, maybe as big as a town, but a big space, and then you just keep dissolving. Ice to water, water to space. to what's in that place starts releasing, becoming soft, and then going deeper in the inner space where it disappears. But maybe there's something that it's connected to that's there, so you find a larger space of internal space, and you release everything that's in there. Until finally, if you have great good luck, all of a sudden your mind will naturally go to emptiness. And the space you feel inside will seem to lose all boundaries. And usually you will find yourself much more relaxed, much more happy, or at least much more content. And you will find the things that when you started aggravating, that were driving you crazy, were causing you to get angry, sad, paranoia, grievous, in grief, in suffering, in this and that, they'll just go. And that inner space will just seem to expand, getting bigger and bigger until it reaches a natural kind of end. And then just let yourself appreciate this newfound internal freedom. Just as though if you had been locked up in a straitjacket your whole life, if you had it taken off and you could walk around for a few minutes, God, your arms would feel free. Or if you release your chains, you feel free. Or if you're in a prison cell and they just open it up, you've got to feel better if you think that, well, now I can walk out of the prison or do something. But even just if you've been in that prison cell for a very, very long time, just having a sense of not being compressed so badly. And you let this go, but at some point it's going to stop. And it's for another class when I explain to you how to continue this. But just for the moment, let everything just kind of calm down and let this incredible internal space shrink. Let it go back to the space it was when you first arrived at a blockage. And you'll find that your ability to be more relaxed will grow. And that the hardness, the sharp edges, the difficulty of the ice will be less. And sometimes, when you're in that space inside of you, and you're dissolving, and it's empty, and all of a sudden something goes poof, and you truly are in emptiness, you're actually going to find that whatever the problem it was associated to is just going to be gone. Or anyway, it'll leave you within the next week or two, as some of its little tendrils, some of its little roots that are allowing it to attach to something else in your mind or just die off. When you cut a tree, it takes a tree a while to die because those roots can keep it going for a while. But if you do cut the tree in half, those roots are going to die sometime. That's the way of nature. So when you've gotten all the way to the bottom of this, then just let yourself go through everything you came through. And let your body be completely relaxed, or as relaxed as you can get. Knowing that each time you do this, you're training your body with the skills it needs to be able to relax. Not get frustrated. Not get freaked out. And then let it go. And let your mind just become more comfortable. In a few seconds, you're going to slowly open your eyes, but You can think of this as that you've closed your eyes and you've blocked off all the light. So it's a bit like you were inside a very dark movie theater. And when you come out of the movie theater, if you come out in where there's a lot of light, it can shock your nervous system. Don't do that. Just let your eyes relax, and as they relax more, let your eyes open until you just feel relaxed with your eyes being open in whatever the light is. And if it's too strong, close your eyes and go through it. So that maybe you'll open and close your eyes 4 or 5 times, so that then when you're looking out, this internal state you had inside yourself of being more open will remain. Then you're on to the next thing in your life, whatever it is. Maybe it's even just telling somebody, if they're close to you, how much you care about them. Maybe it's forgiving somebody for something, because once you let go of the tensions why you couldn't forgive yourself, maybe there's enough room to forgive them. Or maybe it's just, it'll open up enough that when you look at them, you're not afraid to truly share your humanity with them, because all these things that were blocking you from doing that are at least temporarily gone. And as you practice more and more, they reduce and reduce until they're just plain gone. So, with that being said and done, this is the end of the meditation for tonight. And take it through your life and just let it make your life better. Remember, I haven't told you to believe anything. Taoism as a spiritual path is not based upon belief. It's based upon experience that shows you what is true inside you, not on ideas of what is true that somehow you try and justify, and that every religion is pushing, this is the truth and you should believe it. No, it's having you find out what is the truth inside you. Until then, you can let go of what you really don't need and keep what you think is a good idea to keep. So, thank you very much. Till next time, folks. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you found this helpful. If you like this, go ahead and click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.